The sky burned orange above a world that had already forgotten peace. The air was heavy with smoke and the bitter smell of plasma burns. Sergeant Liam Cross, a human Marine, walked through the wreckage with slow, careful steps. Each boot crushed glass made from melted sand. The ground itself turned to crystal by weapon fire. Around him lay the bodies of both humans and aliens, locked forever in their final battle. He checked his rifle. 40% charge left. Not much, but enough to reach the extraction zone, if there was one left. His squad was gone. Their life signals had faded one by one during the chaotic retreat hours earlier. Now, he was the last one moving under this dying sun. Hell of a mess, he muttered, voice echoing through the empty canyon. His helmet's navigation display flickered, half dead from the EMP waves that had rolled through the battlefield. North was somewhere behind the burning ridge, but he could no longer trust his instruments. He moved by instinct alone, the stubborn kind that refused to quit, even when everything else screamed to stop. Then he heard it. A sound, faint, broken, human-like, but not. A weak groan carried by the wind. Liam froze. His training took over. Rifle up, eyes scanning, every nerve ready to fire. The sound came again, from behind a twisted metal frame, what once might have been a hover tank. He moved closer, careful and silent. What he saw made him stop cold. Lying in the sand was a female alien warrior, one of the Syrenn, humanity's oldest and most dangerous enemy. Her green-tinted skin was pale from blood loss. Her long silver hair was tangled with dust and ash. The black armor she wore was torn open, revealing deep burns across her chest and shoulders. But the worst was below her knees. Her legs were gone, both cut clean by what looked like a plasma mine. The wounds had been cauterized by heat, but she was fading fast. For a long moment, Liam just stared. She was the enemy. His orders were clear. No mercy, no aid, no risks. The Syrenn were too dangerous, too unpredictable. He should walk away. He should keep moving. But he didn't. Her eyelids fluttered. Icy blue eyes opened, sharp even through pain. When she saw him, she tried to grab for a weapon that wasn't there, her hand shaking violently. Stay back. Human, she rasped, her voice carrying both fear and hate. Liam kept his weapon ready, but didn't aim. Easy, he said quietly. I'm not here to hurt you. She spat in her own language. His translator filtered it as something too creative to repeat. Despite the danger, a small smile touched his lips. Nice vocabulary for someone half dead. Kill me, she whispered. Or leave. I need no pity from your kind. Liam lowered his rifle slightly. You've got a name, don't you? She blinked, confused. Why would you care? Because I'd rather know who I'm talking to before I decide what to do, he said simply. I'm Sergeant Liam Cross. Her breath hitched, either from pain or disbelief. I am Kayla Vyren, warrior of the Fourth Spear. Well, Kayla, he said, setting his rifle aside and dropping his pack. Lucky for you. I've got a med kit and no sense of self-preservation. You are insane, she hissed. My people have left me. Yours would kill you for helping me. Good thing I stopped listening to both sides a long time ago, Liam replied. He worked fast. The emergency nano-bandages hissed as they sealed her wounds. Her breathing steadied. Her eyes followed his every move, suspicious, angry, but also confused. Why? She whispered finally. Why would a human help his enemy? Because, Liam said, tightening the last strap of the bandage. If we both keep doing what we're told, everyone dies. Maybe I'm tired of watching that happen. Silence hung between them, broken only by the distant crackle of fires. Kayla tried to move, but pain forced a gasp from her throat. Liam caught her before she fell back into the sand. Don't, he said softly. You'll make it worse. You should leave me, she said again, though her voice lacked conviction now. Yeah, he murmured. I probably should. He looked around. The desert stretched endless in every direction, red dust under a darkening sky. There were no med-evac beacons, no friendly signals, no hope. Except for the stubborn human kneeling beside an enemy he refused to abandon. Liam lifted her carefully, feeling the weight of her armored body against his chest. The servos in his suit whined as they adjusted for the strain. Hold on, Kayla, he said under his breath. You're not dying here. Not today. As he started walking toward the shadowed horizon, lightning flashed across the distant clouds, the storm of a coming night. Behind him, the battlefield lay silent. Ahead, the unknown waited. And somewhere deep inside, a spark of defiance burned brighter than all the fires left behind. He didn't know it yet, but this choice, saving one alien warrior, would change the fate of two worlds forever. The desert night fell fast. Red clouds rolled over the horizon, their lightning flashing like the breath of ancient beasts. Sergeant Liam Cross trudged onward, carrying the unconscious Syrenn warrior in his arms. Her armor was cold against his chest, her breathing faint but steady. Each step through the crimson dunes echoed in his helmet, slow, heavy, determined. His suit's sensors flickered weakly, struggling to find a signal. Then, finally, a faint ping. A structure, 2 clicks northeast, half buried under the sand. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. And right now, shelter meant survival. Just hang on, Liam muttered, tightening his grip on her. You didn't come this far just to die. The storm broke before he reached it. Wind screamed through the canyon, lifting walls of dust and sand. The night became a blur of red and black. Liam crouched low, shielding Kayla with his armored body. The sand scraped against his visor like claws. Visibility dropped to 0, but his HUD pointed the way, a faint beacon under the dunes. When he found the entrance, it was almost invisible, a broken hatch half buried in shifting dust. He kicked it open and climbed down a corroded ladder into darkness. His boots hit solid ground. The air inside was stale, dry, but breathable. The emergency lights flickered weakly to life, painting the narrow corridor in a dull orange glow. It wasn't a bunker. It was older, industrial. Research architecture. Liam carried Kayla through the corridor until he found a chamber that looked intact enough to camp in. He set her down gently on a steel bench, brushing sand from her silver hair. Her skin shimmered faintly under the dim lights, alien, beautiful, and bruised by war. As he unpacked his med kit, her eyes fluttered open. Where am I? Safe, he said. For now. She looked around, recognition dawning. This is human-built. Pre-war research station, Liam answered, checking her pulse. Long abandoned. Still got power somehow. She tried to push herself up, but winced, her body trembling with exhaustion. I told you not to bring me. Yeah, well, he said, smiling faintly. I've got a bad habit of not listening. Her lips curved. Not quite a smile, but close. Foolish human. Liam handed her a canteen. You lost a lot of blood. Drink slowly. Kayla took the water hesitantly, her long fingers brushing his. Why? She asked again, her voice quieter now. Why risk your life for me? Liam looked at her for a long moment. The hum of old machinery filled the silence. Because I'm done leaving people behind. Doesn't matter what side they're on. She stared at him like he'd spoken in riddles. Your people call us monsters. Maybe they're right, he said, sitting beside her. But so are we. The quiet between them wasn't hostile anymore. It was heavy, complicated. For the first time, Kayla's eyes softened. She studied the rough human face behind the cracked visor, the scars, the exhaustion. He wasn't what she'd been told humans were. I was raised to believe your kind has no mercy, she murmured. Guess I missed that class, he said. Her faint laugh surprised even her. It was the first human sound he'd heard all day that didn't belong to pain or death. He started to set up camp, thermal blankets, a small power cell, a motion sensor. Kayla watched him move, her sharp eyes following every detail. You act like this is normal, she said. It's not, he replied. But pretending helps. When he was done, he sat across from her, cleaning his rifle. She rested against the wall, pale but alert. You shouldn't be here, she said. My people would call me weak. Yours would call you traitor. Then maybe they both need new definitions, Liam replied, meeting her gaze. Her silver hair glowed faintly under the orange light. For the first time, she didn't look like an enemy. She looked tired, like someone who'd seen too much of a war that made no sense anymore. Outside, thunder shook the walls. The desert screamed in fury, but inside the bunker, silence stretched between them, soft, uneasy, and strangely comforting. Finally, Kayla whispered, What happens when they find us? Liam's eyes flicked to the motion sensor, its red light steady. Then we deal with it. Together. She tilted her head. Together, she repeated, as if testing the word. Yeah, he said, leaning back against the wall. For now. The storm raged above, tearing across the barren world. Down below, in the forgotten depths of a dead outpost, two enemies shared warmth, water, and something new, something fragile. Neither trusted it yet, but both felt it. A spark. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the first quiet tremor of destiny stirred. The storm outside finally began to fade, but inside the ruins, silence carried its own kind of danger. The wind's howl turned to a whisper, and with it came an eerie stillness that made every small sound echo. Sergeant Liam Cross sat beside the dying glow of his heater, rifle across his knees, watching the motion sensor blink in steady rhythm. Kayla slept fitfully on the thermal blanket, her breathing shallow but stable. The faint light from the emergency panels painted her silver hair in a soft halo. Even bruised and broken, she looked like something carved from myth, a symbol of the war's impossible cruelty. Liam forced himself to look away. He wasn't supposed to feel anything for her. She was the enemy, one of the elite Syrenn warriors who'd burned half of humanity's colonies. But something about her refusal to die, about the spark in her icy eyes, had burned itself into him. He checked his rifle again. Habit, not need. Battery at 31%. Power cells draining fast. He'd have to find a way to recharge soon, or both of them were done. Then, a faint sound, mechanical, rhythmic, distant. Not wind. Not thunder. Footsteps. He stiffened. His visor display flickered, detecting faint energy signatures to the west, moving closer. 3, maybe 4. Kayla, he whispered. Her eyes snapped open instantly. She'd been a warrior too long to sleep deeply. What is it? Company, Liam said. About 4 signatures. Could be scavengers. Could be worse. She tried to sit up, grimacing as pain shot through her lower body. If they're Syrenn, they'll kill you on sight. And if they're human, he said dryly, they'll kill you on sight. Her lips curved slightly. An equal opportunity death. Liam checked the corridor. The dim light made it hard to see far, but he could hear the faint hum of approaching power armor. Whoever was coming, they weren't civilians. He quickly moved to her side, lowering his voice. We need to hide deeper in the station. Can you move? She looked at her stumps, then back at him with cold amusement. Not without your help, human, right? He muttered, sliding his arms under her and lifting her again. The servos in his armor groaned under the weight. She tensed but didn't resist. You really enjoy carrying me, she murmured. He smirked. I'm starting to think you enjoy making me. They moved fast through the corridor, guided by the faint lights flickering along the walls. The deeper they went, the older everything became. Twisted metal, crumbling doors, the smell of rust and dust. The air grew colder. Liam's visor detected a sealed hatch up ahead, marked with human military script almost erased by time. Restricted access, research division. He slammed his palm against the panel. Sparks. Nothing. The power grid was dying. Kayla reached toward a small console on the wall. Your system is primitive, she said, her voice steady despite the pain. Allow me. Her fingers danced over the broken keys, speaking in a mix of Syrenn code and English commands. The console beeped once, then unlocked with a metallic hiss. Liam raised a brow. Not bad. I studied your encryption once, she replied, pride flickering through her tone. It was meant for war, but perhaps it can save us now. They slipped inside just as the motion sensor on Liam's wrist turned red. Intruders at the corridor's end. He sealed the hatch behind them, locking it tight. The new chamber was larger, circular, filled with broken machinery and shattered glass tubes. Symbols of both human and Syrenn design covered the walls, mixed together as if two worlds had worked here once, and then tried to erase each other. What is this place? Kayla whispered. Research, Liam said, scanning the consoles. Genetic, biotech, pre-war stuff. She reached toward a cracked tank where pale fluid shimmered inside. Not just research, she said softly. Experimentation. Liam checked the logs, most corrupted. But one line blinked faintly on the display. Project Unity, terminated. Unity, he repeated under his breath. That doesn't sound good. Kayla stared at the message, her expression unreadable. Your people and mine once tried to build peace here, she said. I thought that was a myth. Before Liam could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed through the walls again, closer now. The intruders had bypassed the first door. Looks like myths bite back, he said grimly, grabbing his rifle. Kayla's hand brushed his arm. You don't have to fight for me, human. He looked at her, really looked at her, the defiance still burning behind pain and pride. Too late for that, he said. He positioned himself near the entrance, weapon ready. Kayla, half sitting against the console, pulled a plasma pistol from his belt with a smirk. You'll need a better shot than one rifle. Try not to shoot me this time, Liam said. Depends on how well you perform, she shot back. The first shadow moved through the crack of the door, tall, armored, scanning. Liam fired once, blue plasma lighting the room. The figure fell instantly, but more followed, weapons raised. Kayla returned fire, the pistol's glow lighting her face in ghostly blue. For a moment, the room became chaos, light, sound, and the scent of burning ozone. When the last echo faded, 4 bodies lay on the floor. Scavengers, neither human nor Syrenn soldiers, but deserters wearing mismatched armor and desperation. Liam lowered his weapon, breathing hard. We're clear. For now. Kayla's grip on the pistol trembled. You risked yourself again, she said. He wiped soot from his visor. Guess that's becoming a habit. Her eyes softened. Then I suppose I should stop calling you fool, and start calling you something else. Like what, he asked. She paused, the ghost of a smile curving her lips. Maybe ally. The storm outside rumbled once more, but inside the forgotten lab, something far greater than survival had begun. A fragile alliance between 2 enemies, standing among the ruins of a world that had once dreamed of unity. And this time, perhaps, that dream wasn't quite dead. The silence after the firefight was heavy, filled with the soft hum of dying machines. Dim blue light flickered across the lab's walls, revealing the damage left behind by centuries, scorched consoles, broken glass tubes, cables hanging like vines. The smell of burnt ozone still lingered. Liam cross-wiped the sweat from his brow and checked the power cell on his rifle. 22%. He'd burned through too much energy, keeping them alive. Kayla Syrenn, propped up against a half-collapsed console, still held the pistol in one trembling hand. Her breathing was steady, her ice-blue eyes fixed on him. You fight well, she said softly. Too well for someone who claims to be tired of war. Liam chuckled under his breath. Bad habits die hard. He looked around the lab again, studying the broken logo etched into the far wall. A circle split by 2 mirrored wings, one human, one Syrenn. Below it, the words Project Unity were nearly erased by time. What do you think this place was really for, he asked. Kayla's gaze darkened. I heard whispers of it. A project meant to combine our strengths. Humans with Syrenn adaptability. Syrenn with human endurance. A perfect warrior. But the leaders on both sides called it an abomination. So they buried it, Liam murmured. They destroyed it, Kayla corrected. Or so we thought. She gestured to one of the cracked tanks along the wall. Inside floated the faint shadow of something humanoid. Long limbs, pale skin, and mechanical implants fused to bone. Your kind started it, she said quietly, but our scientists perfected it. We both failed. Liam felt a chill crawl up his spine. So this war didn't start over territory. It started over fear, Kayla said. Fear of what we could become together. He approached one of the terminals. The display flickered to life, faint but legible. Last log entry, Dr. R. M. Harrow, lead researcher. He tapped it, and a static-filled voice broke through. To whoever finds this, we tried. Gods forgive us, we tried. It was never about domination, it was survival. The Syrenn and the humans, we were both dying. The project could have saved us. Instead, Command ordered it destroyed. They said, unity was unnatural. If this message survives, know that it wasn't the science that failed. It was us. The message cut out, leaving only static. Kayla's eyes glimmered in the flickering light. So much death, for nothing. Liam turned to her. Maybe not nothing. We're still here. She looked at him, skeptical. 2 broken soldiers hiding in ruins. That's your hope. He gave her a tired smile. It's more than we had yesterday. She didn't answer immediately. Her gaze drifted down to the mechanical corpses around them. Your people would kill me for existing, she said quietly. And mine would kill you for touching me. Yet here we are, sharing breath. That's how change starts, Liam said. With something no one approves of. Kayla studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, softly, you believe in impossible things, human. I've been accused of worse. She laughed then, a short, genuine sound that filled the empty lab with something warmer than light. But before the moment could last, the floor trembled beneath them. Seismic activity? Liam checked his visor. No, the signal wasn't natural. It was rhythmic. Machinery. Someone just powered up a generator. Kayla frowned. From below, the consoles flickered again, and across every working screen, new text appeared. Sublevel reactivation, 5 minutes. What did you touch? Liam asked. I didn't. Kayla snapped, pushing herself upright with trembling arms. The system must have auto-booted when you accessed the logs. The floor vibrated again. Dust rained from the ceiling. Somewhere beneath them, engines that hadn't run in centuries began to growl awake. Liam grabbed his rifle. We need to move. Now. Where? He looked toward a service hatch at the far end of the room, its warning lights flickering weakly. Down, he said grimly. You want to go toward the reactivation? Kayla asked, disbelief sharp in her tone. If this place wakes up, whatever's down there might not give us a choice. I'd rather face it on my terms. For a moment, they stared at each other, two soldiers from enemy worlds standing over the ghosts of a dream both sides tried to kill. Then Kayla nodded once. Very well, human. Lead the way. Liam knelt beside her, sliding his arms under her again. This time, she didn't protest. Try not to enjoy this too much, he muttered. Too late, she said, voice faintly teasing. He carried her through the hatch. The metal ladder led into darkness, lit only by his suit's shoulder lamp. The air below was colder, thicker, and smelled faintly metallic, like old blood and oil. As they descended, Kayla's voice echoed softly against the walls. Maybe your Dr. Harrow was right. Maybe unity was never about war. Liam looked down into the blackness below. Then let's make sure it isn't about extinction. Somewhere deep beneath them, the hum of machines grew louder. The ghosts of Project Unity were no longer sleeping, and Liam Cross was about to find out what they'd awakened. The air in the sublevel was cold enough to sting. Frost clung to every metal surface, whispering faintly beneath Liam's boots. The beam from his shoulder lamp cut through the dark, revealing the narrow corridor ahead. Smooth walls marked with both human and Syrenn script. It was as if two civilizations had carved this place together, then buried it out of shame. Kayla clung to his back, her breath soft against the collar of his armor. This place feels wrong, she murmured. Yeah, Liam said quietly. Like the ghosts never left. The deeper they went, the louder the hum grew. It wasn't just power. It was rhythm, pulsing, alive, almost like a heartbeat. At the end of the hall, a door loomed, sealed by heavy locks and warning symbols etched deep into the steel. A faint glow leaked from the edges. Kayla's eyes narrowed. Those markings, they're Syrenn biohazard seals. Whatever's inside was meant to stay buried. Guess someone forgot to tell the auto systems, Liam muttered. He placed his gloved palm against the panel. It buzzed under his touch, scanning his armor's ID tag before the display flickered. Access granted. Human clearance recognized. The door hissed open, and a wave of cold air rushed out. Beyond it lay a massive chamber, half lab, half tomb. Dozens of containment pods lined the walls, each filled with dark fluid. Some were shattered. Others still glowed faintly. Kayla's voice trembled. Liam, these aren't machines. They're living. He moved closer to one of the pods, the light from his suit reflecting off a pale shape within. The figure inside was humanoid, but wrong. Its limbs were too long, its skin faintly luminous, veins pulsing with a dull blue light. The face was hidden behind a cracked mask. Then the pod moved. Liam jumped back, rifle raised. It's still alive. The lights above flickered, and a computerized voice echoed through the chamber, distorted and ancient. Project Unity reinitializing. Genetic preservation at 3%. Hybrid prototypes active. Kayla's eyes widened. Hybrids? They made them. Liam's grip tightened on his weapon. They made monsters. Across the room, one of the pods cracked open with a hiss. A hand, human, but streaked with black veins, clawed its way free. Then another. A creature stepped out, its body trembling as if reborn from nightmare. Its face was half metal, half flesh, one glowing eye locked onto them. Target detected, it rasped in a mechanical whisper. Liam fired. Blue plasma seared across the chamber, striking the creature in the chest. It staggered but didn't fall. Instead, it lunged forward, impossibly fast. Liam, Kayla shouted. He ducked, rolling beneath the swing of its arm. The impact slammed into the wall, leaving a dent. Liam fired again, aiming for the exposed circuits running along its neck. Sparks burst out. The hybrid shrieked, a sound that was both human and alien. But there were more. Other pods were opening now, steam spilling across the floor. Kayla grabbed the fallen plasma pistol and fired from her place near the console. Her aim was precise, each shot hitting center mass. "You said they were destroyed," she shouted. "I said they should have been." Liam yelled back, slamming another charge pack into his rifle. The hybrids advanced in jerky, unnatural movements, their voices overlapping in broken fragments. "Unify, survive, complete." "Back!" Liam barked, firing in controlled bursts. The air filled with heat and noise. The creatures screamed but kept coming, relentless and mindless, living proof of the experiment's sin. Kayla's voice rose through the chaos. "We can't kill them all. There must be a shutdown system." Liam scanned the chamber and spotted a raised console near the center, still active, its screen flashing. "Core override available. Manual authorization required." He moved toward it, dodging a swipe that nearly tore his helmet off. One hybrid lunged again, only to have Kayla's plasma bolt tear through its head. "Go," she shouted. "I'll cover you." He reached the console, slamming his palm onto the screen. "Override protocol. Human command." The system beeped, scanning him again. "Secondary authorization required. Syrenn genetic key missing." "Kayla," he shouted. "It needs you too." She looked up from the floor where she was firing, eyes wide. "What?" "Your code. It's built for both species." Gritting her teeth, Kayla dragged herself forward, using her arms to crawl across the floor. Sparks lit the air around her as stray shots struck the walls. One hybrid lunged, but Liam caught it mid-charge with a blast that blew it backward. Kayla reached the console, slamming her hand onto the second sensor. Her blood smeared the panel. The computer beeped once, then twice. "Dual authorization confirmed. System purge in progress." A blinding white light filled the chamber. The hybrids froze mid-step, their voices dissolving into static. One by one, they collapsed, lifeless once more. The silence that followed was absolute. Kayla slumped against the console, panting. "You really do bring chaos wherever you go." Liam laughed breathlessly. "You're welcome." The light dimmed, leaving only the hum of cooling machinery. They'd survived, barely. But in the center of the console, one final message glowed. Prototype 01, containment failed. Subject relocated, surface level. Kayla met his eyes. "There's still one left." Liam holstered his rifle and helped her sit up. "Then we finish this." And somewhere far above them, through layers of rusted steel and sand, something began to move. Something older, stronger, and waiting for them to arrive. The climb back to the surface felt longer than before. Every rung of the ladder groaned under Liam's weight as he carried Kayla on his back, one arm gripping the cold steel, the other clutching his rifle. Above them, faint light filtered down through cracks in the ceiling. Not sunlight, but a pale blue glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. When they emerged into the upper lab, the air was different. It hummed. The power surge had spread through the entire structure, awakening systems that hadn't seen life in centuries. Consoles flickered. Holographic diagrams spun in midair, displaying incomplete data. Human and Syrenn DNA intertwined, lines of code looping endlessly across the walls. Kayla winced as he set her down gently beside a shattered control unit. "It's awake," she said softly. Liam scanned the room. "No kidding. But where?" Before she could answer, the sound hit. Low, resonant, metallic. A vibration that made the floor tremble. Then, from the far end of the corridor, something moved. A shadow stretched across the flickering light, tall and uneven. It stepped forward, humanoid, but enormous, its body a patchwork of sleek armor and living tissue. Its skin shimmered between pale silver and dark gray, veins glowing with blue light. Two piercing eyes, one human brown and one Syrenn ice blue, locked on them. Kayla's breath caught. By the stars, they finished it. The creature's voice was deep and fractured, like two beings speaking through one mouth. "Human. Syrenn. Completion achieved." Liam raised his rifle. "Stay back." The hybrid didn't flinch. It tilted its head, studying them. "You are fragments. Broken halves. I am unity. The final evolution." Kayla's tone turned cold. You are an abomination. You were never meant to exist. The creature took another step forward, the floor groaning beneath its weight. I was meant to end your war, to unite through dominance. If one species will not yield, the other must be consumed. Liam's jaw clenched. Not happening. The hybrid moved faster than he expected, a blur of motion and light. Liam fired, plasma bolts slamming into its chest, but the shots dissipated harmlessly against its energy field. The creature's arm lashed out, striking him across the chest. The impact threw him into a wall hard enough to crack his armor. Liam, Kayla screamed. He rolled, coughing, pain spreading through his ribs. The hybrid turned toward her, its voice cold and calm. You are obsolete. I carry both your strengths. I need no weakness like compassion. Kayla grabbed the discarded plasma pistol and fired. The bolt hit its shoulder, burning through the organic tissue. The creature roared, a sound that shook the walls. Looks like you bleed after all, Liam growled, forcing himself to his feet. The hybrid's head snapped toward him. Resistance is irrelevant. It lunged again, but this time Liam ducked beneath the swing, sliding across the floor toward a broken console. Kayla, he shouted. Can you access the control grid? She was already trying, fingers flying over cracked keys. If I can reroute power from the sublevel, I might overload its energy core, but it'll take time. Buy it, he said, slamming a fresh power cell into his rifle. The hybrid came again, tearing through a support beam like paper. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Liam dodged left, firing again and again, trying to keep it focused on him. Come on, big guy. You wanted unity? Try me. It roared and charged. Liam dove aside, the creature's arm smashing into a console that exploded in a burst of light. He hit the ground hard, vision blurring. The hybrid loomed above him, its blue and brown eyes burning. You fight well, it said, raising a hand glowing with energy. But humanity's defiance is an error, one I will correct. Before it could strike, Kayla's voice rang out from the console. Now, Liam rolled aside just as she hit the final command. The floor shuddered. The entire lab lit up with blinding light as power surged through every conduit. The hybrid screamed, arcs of energy tearing across its body. It stumbled, its shield collapsing. Liam didn't hesitate. He aimed straight for the exposed core in its chest, a glowing fusion of heart and circuit, and fired. The plasma bolt struck home. The explosion was deafening. When the light faded, smoke filled the chamber. The hybrid lay motionless in the center, its metallic chest melted open, blue light fading to black. Liam staggered toward it, lowering his weapon. It's over. Kayla's voice came weakly. No, not yet. He turned. She was slumped against the console, pale, sweat beading on her forehead. The overload, it's spreading through the station. You need to shut it down. Liam moved fast, pulling wires from the main core, cutting the feedback loops. The hum slowed, then stopped. The lights dimmed until only emergency power remained. The silence that followed was almost peaceful. Kayla managed a faint smile. You really don't know when to quit, do you? He knelt beside her, brushing a lock of silver hair from her face. You saved me first. She laughed softly. I think we're even now. He looked over at the fallen hybrid, the final echo of Project Unity. It thought unity meant control, he said quietly. Maybe it never understood what we already found. Kayla met his eyes, her voice soft. True unity is a choice, not a command. Outside, dawn began to rise over the red desert, light filtering through the cracks of the ruined facility. For the first time in years, the world seemed quiet. But beneath that calm, both of them knew the truth. Their act of survival had woken something far greater than just a machine. They had proven that humanity and Syrenn could stand together. And that truth would terrify every power still fighting above. The morning light spilled through the broken ceiling, painting streaks of gold and crimson across the wreckage. Smoke drifted lazily from the shattered consoles, and the last traces of plasma fire cooled into silence. The war machine, the final Unity prototype, lay dead in the center of the lab, its body torn open, the glowing heart inside flickering one last time before going dark forever. Sergeant Liam Cross stood over it, breathing hard. His armor was scorched, his face streaked with ash and sweat. The weight of what they had done pressed on his chest like a physical thing. Beside him, Kayla Syrenn leaned against a twisted beam, Her body still weak, but her eyes sharp. Those piercing ice-blue eyes that had once burned with hate and now held something very different. "It's over," Liam said quietly. "At least, this part." Kayla shook her head. "No, human. The real war starts now." Liam looked at her, frowning. "You mean between us?" "I mean between truth and fear," she said. Her gaze drifted to the lifeless hybrid. "When your commanders and mine learn what happened here, what we've become, they will not celebrate it. They'll bury it again, even deeper." He followed her stare. "They can try," he said grimly. "But they won't stop it. Not this time." Kayla studied him in silence. For all his human roughness, the scars, the dirt, the stubborn jaw, she saw something the Syrenn had always denied humans possessed, an unbreakable heart. "You believe that?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "We saw what unity shouldn't be. Maybe now it's time to show them what it can be." For a long time, neither spoke. The only sound was the wind sighing through the cracks above. Finally, Kayla reached for him. "Help me stand." He lifted her carefully, supporting her against his chest. Her touch lingered on his shoulder, a silent thank you, and something more. "When I met you," she said softly, "I wanted to die with honor. Now, somehow, I want to live, with reason." "Guess that makes two of us," he said with a faint smile. She chuckled weakly. "Strange creatures, humans. You ruin everything you touch, and yet, somehow, you make it better." He raised a brow. "I'll take that as a compliment." It was one. Liam moved to a broken console, checking the few remaining systems that still responded. A map flickered to life, the local region covered in red warning zones. But one beacon blinked green, a human distress signal. He frowned. "There's a camp north of here, human survivors. They might have transport." Kayla's expression darkened. "And when they see me?" "Then we make them see you," he said simply. She tilted her head, curious. "You think they'll listen?" He looked back at her, eyes steady. "They'll listen because they'll have to. You saved me. You fought beside me. And because whether they like it or not, you're proof that this war is a lie." Kayla smiled faintly, but there was sadness in it. "You always speak as if you can change the stars." "Someone has to try," he replied. The two of them began walking toward the exit, slow, careful steps through the ruins. Outside, the wind had quieted. The dunes glowed softly in the early sun, endless and red as blood. As they reached the doorway, Kayla paused, looking back at the fallen hybrid. "It called itself unity," she murmured. "But all it wanted was control. Maybe the universe will remember that, the difference between uniting and consuming." Liam glanced back as well. History remembers what we make it remember. They stepped out into the desert together. The horizon stretched vast and empty, but ahead, far in the distance, the faint shimmer of movement. Drones, perhaps, or ships. The war still raged somewhere beyond their sight. Kayla's voice broke the silence. "If we go north, your people will brand you a traitor." "Wouldn't be the first time," Liam said with a grin. "And mine will hunt me for aiding you." He looked at her, his tone softer. "Then we make new people. New rules." She turned her head toward him, the sunlight catching her silver hair. "You talk like a dreamer, human." "Maybe," he said. "But dreams are how humanity survives." For a long moment, they just stood there, two soldiers from opposite worlds, bathed in morning light, survivors of a secret that could end or save them both. Then Kayla whispered something in her language, a sound both harsh and beautiful. "What does that mean?" Liam asked. "It's a Syrenn phrase," she said. "Two flames that burn in one shadow." He smiled. "I like that." They began walking again, leaving the ruins behind. The dead experiment, the ghosts of Project Unity, the buried lies of two species who had feared each other for too long. The desert stretched before them like a blank page, waiting to be written on. And as the rising sun cast long shadows behind them, one thought lingered in Liam's mind. If unity had failed once through power, maybe it could live again, through choice, through courage, through the impossible bond between a stubborn human and a warrior who should have been his enemy. He glanced at Kayla beside him. She caught his look and smirked faintly. "What?" she asked. "Just wondering," he said, "how the history books are going to handle this." She laughed softly. "They won't. They'll deny it ever happened." "Then," Liam said, eyes on the horizon, "we'll just have to make the truth too big to hide." Together, they walked toward the unknown, not as enemies, not as experiments, but as the first spark of what both their worlds had forgotten to believe in: hope. And somewhere, deep under the desert's crimson sands, the machines of Project Unity went silent again, not in defeat, but in peace. The beginning of something new had already begun.